Hello, welcome to my channel, KC Sledge Storyteller. Gary Chug here to talk about the wonderful world of storytelling and to open up discussion about how we can tell the best stories we possibly can. Now, last time was all about getting story ideas, and today it's about plot pacing, specifically in comics. Now, in spite of comics being the focus, I feel I need to emphasize how vital pacing is in any format, be it comics, novels, movies, etc. The goal in pacing is to give the story a natural flow. It's all about the length of the scene, how the panels are laid out, how exposition is handled, how much dialogue is needed, and bottom line, it engages the reader. But those aforementioned topics, that's where I'll be going into depth. So first, length of a scene. It's important to understand that every scene has to be uniquely approached every time. A scene is too long, then you bore the reader. If the scene is too short, then the reader will feel shortchanged. And long enough depends on what's needed to make the scene fulfilling. Now, think about when you're reading or watching a scene involving an important conversation, and obviously it's midway through that conversation. Odds are, previous to what you're seeing there, character A had knocked on character B's door. Character B opened the door and let character A inside, and both characters A and B sat down to talk. And sometimes you do see that happen in storytelling, but that works when it adds to the scene's context. It can happen with characters A's surprise to see character B, or character B's condition upon arrival at the door. All kinds of different justifications for that. But if that happening has no bearing on that setting, go straight to where the important part of that conversation begins. Then we go to laying out the panels. I mentioned in my video about comic book fight scenes how several small panels in fight scenes help convey a small, fast pace, whereas several small panels in a dramatic scene, they help convey tension. In just about any kind of scene, big panels serve for big impact and also for establishing the world that the reader is experiencing in wide scope. Then medium and the small panels, just what I talked about, it can be you can go for fast pace or slow pace depending on what's happening. Then medium panels are the in-between that mainly transition and make those heavier scenes more impactful with the surprise that they bring. That's the basics right there, but nothing's concrete. You just have to use your discretion, and the whole deal that you have to master the rules before you break them. Now, of course, how this whole process starts, it begins before the panel layout starts. At least when it comes to the full script approach, there's that and going plot first. And I have in mind to go into depth on those approaches to comic writing and in a different video, in a later video. But here we're focused on full script. I say that before saying that I've seen the outline approach done with every full script writer who has described their process in producing their stories as kind of a tutorial. But basically, outlining means you've gotten your idea of what the story is all about, then writing those beats on your outline. Then you figure out how many pages each scene should take up. Then you decide how many panels will go into each page. I myself, I go with drawing thumbnails of the pages, draw the lines that separate the panels, and I don't demand that the artists follow that exactly. I think they have a better idea of what will bring drama to that setup. And then I put little scribbles of what's happening into each panel. Besides pacing, this is to make sure that there's enough plot to fill all the pages needed for a complete story without having to stretch a scene to the point of boring the reader. I've pretty much gotten comfortable with the 22-page format you frequently see in mainstream single comics issues, and with Kablam, they don't have a 22-page setup; they have a 24, and I just asked for 2 blank pages, and you hardly notice that in Sledge number 1. But one last thing: as much as you can, have the last panel on the page to the right show something of intrigue that will make the reader all the more eager to turn to the next page. And now we go to dialogue, and yes, I have done a whole video on that subject, but the subject of pacing warrants revisiting that. 2 more key things I want to hit upon with pacing dialogue. Number 1, keep it basic. Make sure the focus is on the key aspects of what is happening. Use the information in the dialogue where exposition is needed, and from there work on each character's personality into that dialogue. And number 2, don't hinge the appeal of the conversations on just the talking heads. Look at the conversations as an opportunity to use visual cues to help the reader better to get to know the characters. So Sledge number 1, well, not so much Sledge number 1 in later stories, but Carl Eisenberg, he's a freelance inventor, and I know that is an opportunity to show him in his workshop crafting components for his inventions when he's having conversations, and that's the way I can work in the dialogue and establish his aptitude. And finally, I sum it up: engage the reader. That is that summation. I've always believed that good stories allow for every succeeding scene to let you feel a connection with any of the previous scenes and not overwhelm all the other scenes. Every scene should be memorable in some way, and the better the pacing, the stronger each scene will stand on its own. But that's my insight on pacing. If you like this video, please click like. If you like this channel, please click subscribe and share this channel with your friends. I hope this can get some discussion going. Agree, disagree, something I didn't mention, please comment below. It's worth mentioning, I'm still waiting on the final word when Sledge number 1 will reach distro status, and the whole worldwide health concerns that we all should be mindful about. They may have slowed that down, so we'll just have to play the waiting game on that. But let us, again, remain mindful of our habits. Wash your hands, keep your distance in public, and stay indoors if we get sick. Everybody, have a great day.